Beautiful people, I hope you're well. I am Jonathan Mizar. You can call me John. And with today's video, hear me out, because I have a crazy concept. I think I have figured out how to understand the entirety of the photo community. And you may ask yourself, John, how can you generalize and understand millions of different people with millions of different backgrounds and interests? It's easy. Let me show you. Okay, I came up with this theory because over the years, I have thought of abstractly what is photography, and the sentence I've kind of landed on is photography is the intersection of art, science, and physical circumstance. And I think with that phrase you can kind of understand the whole photo community. So up here in the corner I'm going to put a Venn diagram with 4 different circles. If I did it, it looks like bad. If she did it, it probably looks professional and good. But 4 circles, I'm going to run through them real quick just so you understand who the groups of people are. And then we can kind of get more into the pros and cons of those people because everyone has their pros. I'm just kidding. But look, if we go through the phrase at the top, I actually said it in a bad order. Top one is tech or science. Photography is, light coming into a camera. It's the physics of light. It's technology, cutting edge tech. These are people that really enjoy this stuff. They might really find themselves like always having the newest cameras or really like nostalgic about vintage film cameras. Like it's just tech in general and the science of photography. Next, we have the art people. This one I feel like is kind of a double-edged sword because these are the people who might be really driven by like substance or cutting edge photography, like doing really cool abstract stuff, or just stuff that's never been done before, like blending mediums. They can also be a little snobby. So, at the bottom, physical circumstance. Photography always involves physical circumstance. And what I mean by this is these are the people who like have to fly across the world to be in the Himalayas and get a photo of a lion. Are lions even in the Himalayas? I don't know. We will fact check it. They're on a branch, sitting on the branch as sunset's coming down. A rainbow is somehow there. And like it's perfectly 12 o'clock on a holiday or something. I don't know. It's just the physical circumstance is cool, whether at a big scale like that or a small scale like a really intimate, beautiful moment that maybe no one will see. Additionally, I think these people like to be around cool people. Like they might do celebrity photo shoots or something like that. Might be their whole thing is they like to shoot photo. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it. I said I wasn't. Oh, but look, the phrase, science, art, physical circumstance. What could the 4th circle be? I'm calling it lifestyle. I don't know if let me explain it just a little bit more. This is the person who is concerned with being perceived as a photographer by others and all the things that go with that. And I'll dive into that a little bit more, but that's part of every community whatsoever. This is not a political chart on this Venn diagram. So if you're a little bit more that way or a little bit more this way, it's not a political chart. It is a Venn diagram. And oh my God, if you look, what is that? In the middle? Perfectly in the middle, balancing all these aspects of being a photographer? Who could that be? Is that me? That's me. I guess that means I'm the most qualified person to talk about all these various groups of people and talk about them factually. It's not going to be facts. I'm telling you right now. We're just going to have some fun. I just want to talk about the pros and cons of these aspects of photography, but let's get into the first one. Okay, I'm actually going to address the last circle first because I actually think it's the most boring. Not boring. Look, people make fun of this one the most, and rightfully so, because people who are like just obsessed with how they're perceived by other people, it's entertaining to watch to say the least, but it's also, they're like the worst posers. It's not the point. I do want to stick my neck out a little bit for them in the fact that I actually think that, look, if I did this video, if I'm a good YouTuber and I made this a format, like understanding the whole car community, understanding the whole horse girl community, lifestyle is part of everything. It is a very human thing. People very much care how they're perceived, and any group is going to have people who just like to be associated with it. It's why people drive off-road trucks and just go to the mall. It's the reason why people buy vans and they don't skate. It's just, there's this idea, and look, it's human in the fact that, first off, you feel physical pain if you are ever outcasted from a group. Like, have you ever been, like, rejected by a friend group or rejected by a girlfriend or anything? It hurts. Physically. And there's a reason that humans have, like, white eyes. I don't know if you can see. White eyes, proof, I'm human. It's because for social interaction, it's very important that humans know where they're looking, and for a lot of things. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not getting into the human evolution. And third, I'll put a third point in there. I don't really care about the Bible. give or take for whatever you think. But like one of the first stories, Adam and Eve, like when she bites the apple, that shame they feel is like the whole like that's like supposed to be in the Bible. The humans like gaining the ability to be perceived by others and like feel shame for it. Not the point. I'm just saying it's very intrinsically human. And look, yes, we can make fun of the posers. 100%. I'm there with you. They're hilarious sometimes. But they do help our community on the whole. And let me explain why. People pump money into the industry when they want to be perceived as something. And look, I do not care at all about Sony or Canon hitting their camera sale quota. Don't care at all. Big company, whatever. But these people increase the market cap of the industry we love. And look, I don't know the actual number of posers in the industry, but like if it's between, I don't want to say posers. I'm going to correct myself right there. I don't want to say posers because everyone cares how they're perceived. Anyone who ever does anything, you're lying to yourself if you're like, I don't care what people think at all, ever. It's just not true. And anyone is leaning this way at least a little bit. And look, it's not bad. Like if you're a photographer, there's cool things. Like if we ignore all the perverts and all the weirdos in photography, the connotation of being a photographer is like this rugged, free-spirited, creative, adventurous person. That's not a bad thing to be thought of as. And you're lying if you've never been like, yeah, it's a little cool, I'm a photographer. It's a cool thing to do. But these people are increasing the market share of our craft. So if Canon's looking and saying, wow, this is, I don't even know, I'm just going to say a number, a $12 billion industry, we're going to make this many more products because we can make that much more money. Versus if it was like a $6 billion industry, they might be like, one camera, screw them, I don't care. It just makes more players come to the game and it makes a better product selection for all of us because of money. Everything's money driven. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Money. Thanks for watching the video. Money. I'm just kidding. I do this out of the love of the game, dang it. But my point is I'm gonna get rid of this one because I think I said this already. If I did this video 500 times, this one would be part of everything, and I don't think it's uniquely intrinsic to photography. And if I were to do my saying really, it would be photography is the intersection of science, art, and physical circumstance while being human. And I know we're probably 10 years out from us giving a Boston Robotics robot a camera and sending him into the world. But for right now, photographer, they probably have already done it. But for right now, being photographer, I feel like you can take the assumption you're human. And so I'm going to just get rid of this one out of the Venn diagram in the corner. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the graphics are going to look like. I'm not the point. Sorry, guys. Lifestyle. Gotta love them. Okay. Now that we've kind of gotten the pseudo group out of the way, we can actually address my real saying. Photography is the intersection of science, art, and physical circumstance. And at the very top, science. I'm also going to slice this into tech because it should be. Photography obviously is like light coming into a camera and either hitting film or a sensor. And there's a lot of science that goes into light. And people do enjoy the science of all that, but I do think that more people in this circle fall into loving tech. And how could you not? What is a camera but a cute little toy gadget thing? They're incredible. Like, I love cameras, and this is probably my weakest group. And just for the fact that I don't know, I don't have beef with cameras, I used to care more. Like, I used to watch YouTube videos and be like, God, what specs are on this new camera? And like, parallax focusing versus contrast focus. And it is really fun. And that's what I will say is this group does a really good job at understanding their gear better than anyone and getting the absolute most out of it to take incredible photos. Like the amount of times just talking to another photographer and they're like, yo, try this. I'm like, oh my God, no, I had no idea. Because I should do more research. I should be improving. But the point is these people love tech. And I think the other great thing they provide for the industry is I think that they really push brands to make more cutting edge stuff. Like if Canon puts out kind of a lackluster camera, they're like, weak sauce. Like, I don't like that. I need another like they're putting the pressure on them so that we all get better cameras. If I want to go into where this might start to be a little bit of a weak side, because like, it's like you can overdo anything. Like you can eat too much broccoli and get sick. I do think that these are the kinds of people who might get a little bit more snooty about the kind of gear you shoot on. Like, oh my God, you're shooting on a Rebel? Like, lame. Like, you haven't dropped 10 grand, you're not shooting on medium format. What are you even doing? Like, that's like the most obnoxious version of what that could possibly be. It's not what most people are like. Or you can obviously get like a little like, oh man, anything that's not film isn't real photography. And I think that these people also tend to get a little bit more like, if you miss focus by a little bit or the focus is a little soft, they're like, oh bro, that photo's not good, the focus is soft. Or it's like a little too noisy, they're like, should have bought a Sony. And it's not bad. The technicality of photography is really fun because it is kind of what separates photography from like a painting. Because like you can be there and paint from life, but the science of actually capturing light with a camera is really cool. And people who find that to be the coolest part of photography, I don't think it's bad. And like, I do think, I'm rambling. I don't really write a script. I just kind of put bullet points. These people can maybe sometimes tend to collect cameras more than they shoot with them. Not a bad thing. And then the other thing too is that I think that there's more to photography than just developing your technical knowledge. The other circles really matter too. And I know I'm not really in this yet, but I should say this now early. Most people are not firmly in one of these circles. Most people, I as a joke, put myself in the middle of the Venn diagram. But I would actually say that most photographers are in that center circle and just leaning towards different lines. I think it's really rare that you run into someone and they're like, all I care about is cameras. Well, what do you do with them? I don't know. I just have them. Like, that's not really a real thing. But technical side of photography, if you only cared about YouTube photography, you might think that that's the most important thing, because how many views does like a camera review video get? A lot more than just about anything else. But tech, I don't have a closer. Tech, the greatest thing ever. Humans, we made it. I don't know. I love tech. Up next, we have the art people. It almost sounds like a slur when I say it like that, but it's not. We love them. Every photographer is an artist, in my opinion. But if we are to, kind of look at what I mean when I say the art side of photography, this is someone who's really focused on, for one, like kind of the rules of photography, like composition or like the elements of design, principles of art, or I might have said that backwards. But it's just the rules of being a visual medium, like painters, drawers, graphic designers. Everyone kind of uses these when you're using just like a canvas to express your message with no words. And the other thing I would fall under the art category is like substance and storytelling. Whereas like if you're trying to make a conversation like political, or if you're trying to talk about the human experience, like I think that falls under this art category. And on the bright side, I really think a lot of people should develop this, because like I said, photography at the end of the day is an art form, and it's a visual medium, and being able to understand the rules to, for one, make your photos better, but also understanding when to break them, because they're not really hard, fast rules. Some of the best photos actually break the rules, but they do it in an intelligent way. I do think, though, that some of the downfalls, you can get a little too obsessed with the rules. I think some people don't know when to break them. The other thing is, I think when some people are going for starting a conversation, I think they can be a little too jarring or a little bit too much shock value. And and some people like that, and that's not a bad thing per se. It's just do your thing. I respect all the photos you guys take for the most part. I'll put a caveat on there. I'm not gonna say all photography. I'm gonna get put with the evil photographers or something. But the point is I also think, and I'm not trying to be too mean, because I actually don't think that most really talented photographers fall into this. I think that the art stuff can get a little pretentious, and I don't want to make a big point of it, but I just think that is like a poser in its own right in the community, is someone who's like, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know. Like, it's like wine tasting or anything. Like, people can get snotty about anything, and I think it's because photography is like a little ethereal. And I guess that's another pitfall you can fall into, is like if you're going for like a more conceptual photo, I think it's possible that it's like too conceptual and too abstract, and like no one understands it in that sense either. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Art is a very complicated thing, and honestly I could make a whole video in itself. But I do think that photography is a form of art, and I know that was a debate when cameras even came out. Like, oh, is this gonna replace painting? Is this, again, another video in its own right, to be completely honest with you. But I think that you should understand the rules of photography and understand when to break them, and don't be scared to experiment or shoot photos that tell stories about the things that you care about. That being said, we can move on to the next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, because I actually think this is my personal favorite category, physical circumstance, or circumstance-focused photographers. And what I mean by this is a photographer who really cares about being there for cool stuff. Because you know what? For one, that's how you get great photos, being in cool places. I actually think it's a thing that a lot of photographers struggle with. Get out of your room, get out of your house, get into the real world, go to that festival, go to that, go to the mountains, go to the beach, do anything where people are and things are happening. And look, yes, you can get good photos inside your house, but you have to go be where photos are. You know what I mean? And I think that there are some pitfalls with this one. For the biggest one I can really think of is that just because you're somewhere cool doesn't mean your photos are good. And I mean that in the fact, like, you could send me to Mars, cool place. If I was like a first year photographer, I probably wouldn't take very good photos. Like, it's just from an artistic standpoint. And then the other thing too is I think that these circumstance people, I also kind of categorize the people who like really like to work with like famous, affluent people. Like, oh, my big thing is like shooting celebrities. That's a type of photographer. And again, same pitfall, like just because you have photos of like Michael B. Jordan doesn't mean they're good portraits. Michael B. Jordan is cool. Your photos have to be good on their own right. And I think that's a pitfall of just thinking because you're in a cool place or cool circumstance. Like, perfect example. I went down to Arizona to shoot the eclipse last year. And there was a whole thing where essentially I didn't get to be where I wanted to be due to circumstance, and I had to shoot photos in a different place. And like, I was there at the eclipse. I didn't get a good photo of the eclipse. It just didn't turn out. And I actually got one of my favorite photos at that trip because of everything that happened. And that's just, rolling with life. But you also need to perform well in the circumstance. But again, I do think that everyone could probably lean into all these traits a little bit more. But I really do encourage you, if you're a photographer, go take photos. Go do the thing. Like, just go do it. And I guess my biggest battle is I hate editing them, though. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna be like a little Peep. They're just gonna keep dropping my photos after I'm gone because I just have so many in the bin. But no. Physical circumstance is really cool, but I do think that there are photographers who really lean into this part. And it's actually what got me into photography, is I wanted to go to cool countries. I wanted to meet cool people. I wanted to do cool things. And it has actually been one of my biggest drivers. I'm actually really a homebody. If it was up to me, I would probably have the lights off and I'd just be playing video games till I die. And I gotta go do it. I gotta go see the world. I gotta capture the cool moments and just being there for them. I think that life can be really sad and really hard, and I like to be there for the beautiful moments that make life worth living. And then I think on the other side too is you can really point out like painful things that are happening. There's photographers out there who are shooting photos of travesties in our world that people just aren't aware of because people's lives suck too and they just can't focus on everything. Photography is a beautiful medium because of physical circumstance, and I think that's really where it separates itself from painting, is this fact that you have to be there. And I do think, I'm not going to go too far into this rabbit hole, I apologize, I have no idea how long this video is, but I do think that physical circumstance people are the people who get a little funny about like editing the photos. And like, obviously, like, I'm not a huge AI proponent, and like, I think it just depends, because everyone's like, oh, at what line is it photography and at what line is it like computational or like digital, or like, yes, if you like add in a tiger that wasn't there, probably not photography. But I think like removing like cables or like weird distractions, I personally just don't got beef with that, as long as it's not like completely altering the scenario or situation you were in. And then obviously there's all the gray area in between those two opinions. And we can talk about in the comments or something, I don't know. But I love photography, and I really love that it gets me out in the world, and take it as your excuse to just get out into the world and go shoot cool photos. And we'll put a bow on this. All right, guys, that's the end of the video, but I want to say one thing, because I said at the beginning, but I really want to emphasize it. This is just for fun. This is just a funny concept I thought covered most of photography. This is not the law. If you feel like you fall outside of it, that's great. And tell me what you think. Do you feel like this actually encompasses the entire photo community? Do you feel like it doesn't? It's just a fun little thought experiment. Now we can get into some of my photography stuff. Big one is calendar. 2025 calendar coming out. I just announced it. I'll put it on screen. We will be taking orders until November 30th, so I should really hurry up and edit this video. Dear Lord. I would really appreciate it. I think we're selling them for $32.95. Include shipping. So like, that's the flat price inside the United States. that is like our biggest thing we do every year. I do this with my girlfriend. This is our 4th annual calendar. I love it. It's mostly nature focused. There's maybe a little city stuff or urban, but it's usually pretty soft. It's mostly nature, wildlife photo calendar. I'm gonna be real with you, as of shooting this, it is not totally finalized, so I can't really specifically say what's in it, but it's gonna be the best one yet. Not to get a little too wordy, I'll let you go to the listing. It's full page photos, 8.5 by 11, opened up like 17 by 11, I believe, yes. Full bleed, moon phases, all your favorite holidays, if you're an American. We get some international orders. I appreciate you guys the most. I apologize. You got to like cross off like 4th of July. Other stuff, guys, this is YouTube. Subscribe, like, I always love saying that one, but it's funny. I don't know. It's just funny. I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, like, subscribe. Yeah. Also, I do a newsletter every month. I don't spam you. It's once a month. I just talk about the things I'm working on, the creative processes, new photos I've made. Really recommend signing up. Third, all my photos are on my website. If you want to check out my full portfolio, give me a full portfolio review like you suck, that'll also be in the description. I'm on other social medias, Instagram, Threads, kind of Twitter. I kind of am on and off there, I'll be real. YouTube's probably the best place to really catch it, except I can't share photos on here. Not the point. You guys are the best. If you're here and you're not asleep, you're the best. Okay, you're chill. I love you. Nobody else. If you're watching this with multiple people in the room, it's you, not you. I don't know. We're just having fun, guys. It's just a fun time. Be a part of it. Subscribe. I don't know. Calendar. Buy a calendar. Bye.